We are live now. Wow.
Yay.
Welcome to, yes, we are. Welcome to Reset for Success, your conversation with the masterminds, where we have candid conversations about the success principles, which is a book that is one written by Jack Canfield, who is also author of Chicken Soup for the Soul. But it resonates with us because we are all Canfield trainers. And so we have all gone through the success principles certification. And here's what's so interesting about this is that we are each utilizing it in our businesses, but under a different model, which is what's so great about the success principles is that they're applicable to any industry, to any profession, to an individual that's just truly looking on how to get from where you are to where you want to be. So every month, yes, every month, we have these conversations and you have the opportunity to join us, join in on the conversation, be a part of the chat, be a part of the experience. And who knows, sometimes we give prizes out. I don't know. You never know. So you just have to watch. So with this, hey, again, welcome. And we have here the mastermind. So I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves and then we'll get into the principle that we're going to talk about today.
Yes. Okay, I'll go. I am Gabi Abdelgadir. They call me the Declutter Queen. On Facebook, I'm Gabi Declutter Queen. Happy to be here. Jody?
Hey, you want to tell a little bit about yourself, Gabi?
Oh, okay. Okay, I thought I introduced myself enough, like seriously. But okay, so I am a Canfield Success Principles certified trainer, just like my team, our group here. And I'm also a certified the Lin Method clutter clearing coach. I'm a feng shui practitioner and an author as well. Yeah, is that good enough?
That's good.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Okay, I'm good. Go.
Go ahead, Miss Jody.
Mia, okay, I'm up. Who's on first? Hey, everybody. I am Jody Santangelo Ash, and I am in the personal development, personal transformation space. And I love to work with people who are ready to make a positive change in their life, whether it's their relationships, their health, their career, their business. And I love to work with people who have a goal or dream or something important to them get to the next level. So I'm a trainer coach and author of the book Dynamic Affirmations. That's me.
Yay.
Yeah, reach out if we can, if any of us can be of service to you.
Cool.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Whitney Wiley. I am an organizational leadership and employee development strategist. I work with organizations and individuals, helping them to create workplaces, and cultures that people love to work in. I am really passionate about that work because I found myself for a really long time in some work that didn't work for me. I was not happy. In fact, I was one of the other principles is not to be a complainer. I was a big complainer. I was a huge complainer in my work, and I learned some things that helped me to move through that and past that. And now I help people to do the same. I think it's really important that you love the work that you do or do the work that you love. Either way works, and no reason not to have that. So I'm happy to be here. Also a Jack Canfield certified success principles trainer. And I'm just excited that we're going to be talking about this because I have a real life example.
Okay, all
Whitney.
of us do on this.
Whitney,
Almost,
we teach what we
almost now.
right. Whitney, we teach what we need to learn too, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Have to hit the teacher first.
Yeah.
Well, my name is Cheryl Mays, and I am the founder of Rise and Shine, which is a consulting and coaching firm. And I work with small businesses that are actually looking at their customers and going, where are you? Why didn't you come back? Haven't you referred anyone? And how do we get you to help us to be able to bring in more customers? Because that can happen by just looking at your customer's experience. And so I help individuals take a look at that and improve that. And then we get your customers to come back refer others, and spend more money because that's what you want. So if you are one of those people that wake up and go, where's my customer going to come from? You already have them. So I show you how to utilize them. And I'm excited to be here because we are, it's interesting. I think we started our mastermind group about 3 years ago. Not even 3, maybe 4 years ago. We don't know because there's that 1 year where everybody just kind of loses. So 3, 4 years. But we have, over the course of time, we have learned so much about each other and about how these success principles work in each aspect that we deliver them in, because we all teach in different modalities. And so tonight you're going to hear about how this principle works for us, as well as it works for the people that we work for. So without further ado, we're going to get into the success principle number 28. So just in case you're going, well, how many of these principles are there? There are almost 67 principles. And I guarantee you, as you look at the principles, you're going to go, wow, I already do that one. And you're going to feel so good because you're like, okay, I've got some success principles that are already in practice. And so this principle here is going to look at some of those things that, they create messes for us. And, we look at things and we go, man, I just never finished that. And so it's just some stuff that's incomplete. And you find that when you're looking at the messes and the incompletes, it kind of stops you from moving forward because you got what they say is baggage, right? We all have that baggage that we just can't release until we release it.
Yes.
And that's what the whole principle is about, is being able to release, take care of, handle those messes and those incompletes so that we can move forward, but always learning, right? Always learning from those experiences. And so when we talk about messes and incompletes, there's the book explains really nicely a cycle of completion, where we go through this cycle from whatever it is that we're beginning, rather it is, hey, I'm going to set a goal to read 1 book a year. Maybe that's my goal. So now if you look at the cycle of completion, right, there's the deciding that that's what I'm going to do. There's putting the plan in place. There's actually starting, because nothing happens until something happens. And then it's continuing on that road that allows you to continue to move forward. And then you finish and you complete. But here's what happens. Somewhere in that cycle, we stop. And then we go, yeah, I'm going to move on to something else, because that's what happens, right? Sometimes it's shiny moments. Sometimes it's things that are just easier to do. And so we have the ability to say, I'll do it later, or that someday thing. And, and then the second thing, it talks about our attention units. I think the sun is shining. This is the joy of being where I am. But there's this things called attention units that actually grab your attention, like those daily irritants. You ever like walk through your house and you go, gosh, I hate that that's like that, and I'm going to fix it, but not right now, right? And so then we continue to go through, and every day we come through and we see that same thing and go, I'm going to fix that. But that's what they call an attention unit, because it gets our attention, it gets our focus. And then we're no longer focusing on that, because in our mind, we're going, gosh, I just got to do something about that. So I know I've had those experiences. And so now that everybody knows what it is, and if you've had those experiences, come on, you got to tell us in the chat. So you got to make a comment so we know that we're not the only ones that have had those experiences. So I'm going to ask the folks here. I was getting ready to, because I'm so used to being on Clubhouse, I was going to say the co-mods. So I'm going to ask, you guys know what I'm talking about, because I know you're on Clubhouse too. So I'm going to ask Gabby, Jody, and Miss Whitney to share a story with us about one of your messes or incompletes, and then did you rectify it? Is it still something that you're looking to, to fix so that you can do what you need to do? So who wants to go first?
I'll go first. I'm already feeling like confession is good for the soul. So
Is this a booth here? We're in the truth booth.
I
this
know.
is the truth booth, and
truth.
I am going to share this, and then I'm going to share something that I actually do to help. This example isn't the only mess or incomplete in my life, but it was something that absolutely rose to the top that needed to be done. So in addition to being a coach, I'm a realtor. And I have the approach that I've taken mostly with my business is that I want to do deals that I want to do. So and that's all I do. If I don't want to do a deal, I don't do it. I can pass it on to someone else, and that's fine. But there are some things that have to happen whether I want to do them or not. And the keeping up to date on my license is one of those things. And in California, the part of the renewal process is that you actually do some studying and take some exams. And so I had taken a bunch of classes over the course of the years, but didn't pay close enough attention to whether or not they were qualifying for my license renewal. And it turns out none of the courses that I took were. And it was time to renew my license this year. And fortunately, the legislature in California, or the governor, whomever, said you've got some additional time. You've got 6 extra months. Normally would have to renew it before the end of the year. And I got 6 months, which ends on Wednesday. And I have spent the last couple of months, because I wasn't even paying attention to this. My broker contacted me and said, you need to take care of this. You've gotten to the end of June. Of course, the day she said that, I didn't do anything about it, but I was wise enough in April to figure out what it is I needed as I was going through the courses that I had taken to see what qualified and what didn't. And then when I found out that none of them qualified, it sort of let a little air out of my balloon. And I did not take immediate action. And so I'm not going to say that because we were doing this that I got busy, but it certainly has been on my mind. And so I started sort of every couple of days doing a course, taking an exam, doing a course, taking an exam. And then I got down to the last 3 courses that I needed to take. And it was about 15 units. And the challenge was that if you don't pass, you only get 1 retake, or you have to redo the course over again. And I didn't want to do that. And I didn't want to have it go to Wednesday and have something happen where, for whatever reason, I didn't pass something and wouldn't be able to renew my license. So I'm happy to say that this particular incomplete, which could have made a huge mess, because I'm in the middle of like 4 deals at the moment, and not having my license would have, been a really big deal, right? I got the last of the courses that I needed to do about an hour before we got online to do this webinar. So I'm just saying, baby steps, right? And that's one of the things that I'm sure we'll get into in terms of addressing the incompletes in your messes. The first thing I think you need is inventory. Figure out what's on your list, and then figure out those things when you've got this huge list, to go through it and figure out what really needs to be done. What do you still want to do? What's still important? What's a priority for you? And if there are things that are no longer important, or things that you don't want to, take them off the list, because having a really long to-do list can be overwhelming. It can paralyze you, right? It can keep you from taking any action. And so inventory what you have, take off those things that you no longer want to do or are important, or that you've got on the list and it maybe never belonged on the list in the first place, and then pick something. Just pick something. Maybe it's because there's a deadline looming and you need to tackle that first, or it doesn't matter sort of what you choose, but choose something and then start taking baby steps. And eventually, if you just keep taking one step after another, you'll look up a couple of months later and you'll have finished the last real estate exam. So that's that's my cleaning up some incompletes. Got it done. Happy to have that over. And now I don't have to spend the next 2 days stressing about getting it done. So confession is good.
Whitney, thank goodness, because I'd hate for you to lose all that commission out there in California. And I wanted to add that, so Whitney, I had my license in one state and I moved to another state and never let them know my new address, and it expired. And I thought, I'm not doing this again. I was doing something different, but so that's how bad that, see?
Exactly. And that's how that can happen, right? You don't intend for it to happen. And
So
you
many
look
things.
up and you go, it's going to be worse to have to do it over than it would have been to just keep it moving.
It's a big deal. It can be a difficult task. So if it's all right, I'll go now, because I think it's important for our viewers to know that it's not just things on our list. You know, our messes can include things like old emotional baggage that we're holding on to, or relationship issues that are left unresolved, because all this stuff just weighs on us, and that's the problem. And then, of course, it can talk about anything that needs to be organized or repaired. And so we could get into this long list in a few minutes. So, you know, for me, two of my signature programs are really teaching and coaching success principles. And I'm just a huge fan of Law of Attraction, which is all about this universal energy. And if you want to know more and you missed our episode on Law of Attraction, go back 1, 2, or 5 videos ago. You'll find it there. We talk all about Law of Attraction. Well, when we have old baggage, when we have piles up to here, when we have relationships that aren't resolved, whether it's at home or whether it's at work or old things, it weighs on us and it robs us of our energy, and it is overwhelming. Well, when we feel overwhelmed and we feel, like Whitney said, almost resigned to the fact that, right? It's just, oh God, it just gets it's too much. Then guess what? Law of Attraction says, well, I'm going to give you more of that energy. That's just how it works. And so that is one of the biggest reasons here. We need to clean this stuff up. So just a quick story about my issue, truth booth here. I am a very visual learner. I have to see it. And visual learners also are known for taking lots and lots of notes. And all of us here are also big learners, right? We love to learn, we love to teach, and coaches need coaches. And so we love to learn. And so I'll jump on one of my favorite teachers' webinars or Clubhouse or whatever, and I'm taking notes. And then I finish, and I've got all these notes, and I've written so fast and I can't read my notes. And then afterwards, I start thinking about all the things that I need to do. So instead of taking the time right then to file it, what do? It goes in a pile. And that's where the problem begins, because then I look at that pile and it's overwhelming to where to even know where to start. And guess what? I can't even read my writing. So what a time waster was that. And it just drains my energy to look at that. So that's an issue for me right there. One of mine too, Whitney. I've got others, but so if anybody has a solution on the call for me, I'm open.
Okay, so let me get this. I used to be like you. I used to take notes on papers, on lined papers, and then I would staple them if they're more than like 3, and then I put them away. I have a tray full of these documents. Sometimes for the life of me, I can't even remember which webinar that was from or who said that. It's really annoying, like you said. So the strategy that I started is, it's not expensive. I started buying this. This one has 250 pages. I don't know about you Americans, but we have a place called the Dollar Store or Dollarama. It's $2.50, and it's bound so it doesn't, like, none of the papers falls away. So this is what I use every webinar, every training I attend. I open the page, I write the date, and I write who it was or which seminar, which this thing. So I have this. It could last me a very long time, and then I don't have to deal with papers anymore. So
I love
yeah.
it, Gabby.
Thank
Oh,
you.
I love that. Are you
See,
kidding?
yeah.
You need
Yeah.
one book?
I do the same
it.
thing.
You do?
Yeah.
I
Yours
do.
Why
is
have my
smaller.
papers have been holding out on me?
I
I
didn't
know
know
it.
it was an issue. And I have tons of these, and
Yeah.
I keep everything. I keep everything.
Yeah, so this one I use like for any trainings that I attend, webinars and seminars, or any online course that I attend. And I have another one, which is a smaller version. It's 200 pages. That is for real course that I'm taking. Like, for example, the latest one was kinesiology, the training on kinesiology. So anything that is a paid training, I have a different book, and I have like a front title on it. So that when I need to go back to it, because if the repetition is the key of learning something, if I need to go back because I'd forget, I know that the paid courses are different, and this is just taking notes from all these leaders that we listen to. So that is that. And then, like Jack Canfield taught us on this module 28 to use the 4Ds: do it, delegate it, delay it, or dump it. So this is what you have to do. Instead of keeping it for next time, oh, I'll take care of it next week. Next week becomes like a couple of months. So look at it, go through it, and then think right there, and then decide, do it, delegate it, delay it, date it, and put it like in your calendar, or dump it. Those are the things that we learn from the Clean Up Your Messes.
But I never learned about the notebook, so thank you, Gabby.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, it is good. Like, seriously.
That was worth the price of this admission. Oh, wait a minute.
That's a good thing. You can take your notebook, you can get all that stuff out of your head, right?
Yeah.
Jody, you were talking about the emotional weight that having stuff, whether it's physical clutter or in your head, in your heart, wherever it is, get it out. What are those things that are blocking you? Let's just get it out,
Yeah.
Jot it down, because once you get it out of you and you don't have to try to figure out what to do with it, then you can apply the 4Ds, right? Because now you have a strategy for dealing with those things. But it's something about having it inside of us and all of it rolling around in our head that just creates the
Chaos.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
It
so
is,
if you
yeah.
can just get it out, you can start fresh. And you don't have to remember anything, which I always find fun, right? Is to move forward without having to remember anything. And so take your notebook, whether it's a $2.99 one or something else, $1 one if you can get your hands on it. Get it out of your head, out of your heart, out of here. Write it down, and then go through that strategy. Make a decision. Marie Kondo it, right? Just make some deal with it. Do it, delegate it, delay it, or dump it, and then you can move on. You can just move on, nice and fresh.
You know, that's the interesting part about it. I'm so glad you said that, Gabby, because that's my formula. That's the formula that I use, is the D formula. And you know, because it here's the reality for me. I think of external chaos means internal chaos.
Yes.
So if you are surrounded by chaos, and chaos comes in so many different forms. It could be, you know, I'm sitting at my desk and I've got piles up to here. That's a level of chaos.
Yeah, it is.
If I'm driving in my car and I've got, you know, food in the back seat, or, you know, all of these, my thing, right, is teacups.
You keep teacups in the back of your car?
Because as I leave the house, I always have a cup of tea. So I've either got like these, or I've got the actual cups. And so I get someplace and I just keep putting them in the car. Then, like, I don't know, 3 weeks later, I'm like, where are all my teacups? And I go to the car with a bag and I go, oh, here they are.
Oh, gotcha.
But, you know, so that's a level of chaos.
It is.
You know, walking through your house and seeing things that you want to, you know, change, rearrange, and yet you continue to walk by it. Those are levels of chaos.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's interesting that there are things that we allow to just continuously happen.
Yeah, put up with, or
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Those
Yeah.
irritants that we just allow to continuously happen. And then it's like you're combating yourself. You know, I want to move forward, but I've got this attention thing that I'm focusing on something that I need to clean up, or someone that I need to have a conversation with, or to say I'm sorry to, or to, you know, just let's have some closure aspect of it.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's interesting because for me, my story is kind of multifaceted, because there's a whole lot of stuff going on. And two of those that I talked about, one was my car. And the other is I do that process every quarter. So I am, you know, when you write down the things that you want to accomplish, I create this massive list so that I get it out, everything that I want to be able to do. And it doesn't have any time frames on it. It's just everything, just like a brain dump of whatever it is that I want to do. Then I go through the list, and then I start to prioritize, and then I start to go, okay, you know, I'd like to do all of these things. And so at the end of every quarter, and I just posted today that we're at the end of Q2 in about 2 days, and we're 6 months into the year.
Yeah.
You know, gosh, what haven't we done? Or, you know, have we gone and taken a look back? And so for me, it's that, right? It's going back and using that D formula and going, okay, as I'm going through my list, which I just did today, I cleaned out my little list of things where I've had conversations, and I like to compartmentalize things and put you here and you here and you here. And so I've gone through the list and said, okay, this is, you know, something that I'm not probably going to get to. So I'm going to dump that. Or, you know, this is somebody that I
busted
really need to get to. That's why I'm here. I really need, you know, but it's going through, right, that mental state where it frees you. It frees you from feeling responsible to complete something that you have no intention on completing because of time, energy, or resources. Or it allows you to go, okay, I can let that go. I can part ways with it, feel okay about it, so that I can now put something on my list that's actually going to move my agenda. And so it's taking that, you know, that moment where we stop and go, okay, let's take inventory. How did I do over the last 3 months? You know, is there something that I really want to shift into Q3? Because I really want to see it happen, just didn't get to it. So it's okay. I'm just going to shift it into Q3. And so I've had to learn to, number one, forgive myself, because that's the toughest part, is because you feel like you've let yourself down because, oh my gosh, I didn't make that deadline. I really wanted to do it. I didn't. And so I felt like I was letting myself down, and that's heavy. You know, that's a heavy weight that you bear on yourself when you're letting yourself down. Sometimes when you let other people down, you can go, yeah, it just didn't happen. But when you let yourself down, that's a lot deeper. And so you have to, you know, I say you, but I say I had to be able to say, okay, Cheryl, it didn't happen. Where is it on your list of priorities? Because if it wasn't even a priority, it should have never even been on that must-do list. Yeah. It could have been on that extended list, like, hey, if this happens and the universe falls through, fabulous, right? But did it need my attention? No. So, you know, it's interesting that we all have these messes and incompletes based on priority, organization, emotional impact. You know, and how we are able to actually move forward with those. So I want to ask this question to you guys. what is that one thing that you've decided, you know what, I'm letting it go and I'm okay with it? Because I think we have to come to terms with this thing of releasing something, that I'm going to release this and I'm going to be okay with it and I'm going to move on.
Yeah, for me, I would say it is people who do not serve you in any way. Not that I mean when I say people who do not serve you, people who are not really there for you, or people who are negative, or people who are something in front of your face but something different behind your back. That is what I have decided to let go. I have already started it and a few more to go. So it's extremely important to let go of all those negative people. They have this big smile in front of your face. You turn your back, they're saying stuff about you, or they don't wish you well. You could tell if somebody doesn't want you to succeed or doesn't wish you well. So you could tell that. So that is one of the things on my top priorities right now. I've already started it this year, but I'll continue on that. Another thing is the habit of starting a book and not finishing it. Those are my guilty, that I have to stop doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, such great points, because I think, especially when you come to writing a book, right? It's like you never really have one book inside of you. You've got books where you've already got titles, you've got characters, you've got subject matters. And so, being able to actually say, okay, I'm going to go into completion mode.
Yes.
So and I'm going to make that happen.
A funny experience for me recently. So we were having a community or neighborhood garage sale. And my husband said, we don't really have anything for a garage sale. And I said, oh, we sure do. And so then we started looking in our closets, we found a boatload of things for a garage sale, like untucked under the bed, in boxes and everything, but pull off the shelves. And another thing was my closet. Ladies, do you all have clothes in your closet that you wore 10 years ago and you need to get rid of, or maybe you're waiting to drop a size or gain some weight or whatever?
Yeah.
So I cleaned out my closet. So we have this neighborhood garage sale, and it did okay. It did okay. It didn't do great. We got rid of some high ticket things, but we didn't get rid, people, I don't know, here, nobody was really interested in clothes. And then at first you got this tug of war in your head. Do I let it go? Do I not I can't. And then finally you're like, forget about it. And then what people didn't take, we packed up, and then we just went and donated. And of course, we donate lots of other stuff at all other times, but that time we just said, pack it up, and now it's gone. And so it is just so freeing, right?
Yeah,
and I looked, and I think I got rid of 12 pairs of shoes. Like I had Britney Spears shoes that had like 30-inch heels, right? I'm going to wear those today. How silly. Just because they were still in the box, but it was so freeing. And so, we also, you want to clean up your messes to make space for your new successes.
Yeah.
Or if you're looking for love, clean up the old relationships. You got to forgive and forget to make space for new love in your life. Clean out your closet if you want some new clothes. So, so for me, it was like really the closet.
That's a good one. And that is like every weekend, that's like on my to-do list. And so I keep waiting.
Forgive yourself, Whitney.
I hold no guilt about it. I hold absolutely no guilt about it. It is an intention. And, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. We've started to learn a lot about each other over the years. And one of the things that, if you guys haven't learned this about me as of yet, I guilt and regret, I don't think are emotions that serve us, right? If you are prone to feeling guilty about something, you should just do something about it. No reason to have guilt. So I have none. I do have intent to do it. I have intent to do it this weekend. Something comes up, I just keep it moving. But I wanted to say this on Cheryl's question. A couple of years ago, one of the things I gave up, and not in the I don't do resolutions sort of way that is kind of popular right now, but more in a I don't need to add more things to my list, right? And so that sort of if I had a resolution, it was to be a finisher. And I felt like a few years ago, I was really good at starting things, but not so good at finishing. I was really good as a goal setter. And so I stopped calling myself a goal setter, right? Because setting goals isn't the point. It's accomplishing
Finishing
them.
them, yes.
It's the point. It's finishing them that is the point. And I wore that goal setter badge like as that title as a badge of honor, and then did some introspection. I was like, yeah, you have really become a really good goal setter, but you're not such a great goal achiever. And it wasn't that I was bad. I certainly accomplished more by having set goals than I would have without having set goals, but there was so much more that I could be doing. And so I started focusing on achieving the goals, not just setting them. And so that resolution became to not add more things every year, but to, again, kind of get an inventory and look at the list and see what were the things from this past year that I wanted to get accomplished that I didn't, and to do some introspection about where things fell off, right? So that it would be more accomplishment, more completing, and eliminating the messes. So that's something that has worked for me, and I think if you check that out, maybe it's something that will work for you. And it's just a little tweak in the mindset, right? To go from is not about having more things to do. It's not about accumulating more things. And I like what you said, Jody. You get rid of some of the clutter, physical, emotional, mental, so that you can have space to bring in what it is you want, whether it's a new car or a new outfit or new love or friendships or whatever, right? New business, new clients. Get rid of the stuff that is no longer serving you, that's occupying your mental and emotional bandwidth, and make room for what it is you want, which is why it's important to do that inventory and then go through that D list or that D strategy, right? To figure out what you need to dump off of there, what you can move forward, what you can give to someone else to do, or what you can do right now so that you can clean out some space to do the things that are now, right? 5 years later, what's important to me now, as opposed to what was important to me 5 years ago.
Okay. All I'm going to say is that was a huge aha for me. I mean, when you even think of the name goal setting, hello. I mean, that was huge for me. I mean, right? Because I tend to do that as well. I absolutely loved that. This has been a great call for me. I hope other folks are benefiting.
Yay.
All right, I'll be quiet now.
Awesome.
Go, Cheryl.
That's what we're here for, teaching each other, helping each other. And Tammy, thank you for joining us and sharing. Yeah, she says yes. Get
Am I
rid of
back?
the stuff that no longer serves you. Yes.
Am I back now?
Yes, you
you are back.
Awesome.
Did you say-
Okay.
Yeah, because you
Tammy?
froze there for a little bit. Yeah,
I
say Tammy
don't know what happened. You gotta love technology.
I know, seriously.
Yeah, I just the conversation as I was coming back on, it's so interesting because there's so much going on that we think we can handle everything. It's like I can handle that, and I keep going and you keep going. And we've talked about this in past conversations about just being able to say no.
Yes.
To say no, and stop adding to our list so that we don't have that emotional weight that bears us down, that gives us, these feelings of either regret or these feelings of, incompletion and failure and all of those things that we typically have a tendency to bring on ourselves.
Yes.
And, we have that control, we have that power. And one of the things that the principle teaches us is that we do have control over those things that we focus on. And how do we actually move forward by eliminating all of that stuff, right? Or as I say, right, which is behind me, right? Silencing the chatter. How do we silence the chatter so that we can focus on what's going to move the dial, what's going to allow us to move forward, what's going to allow us to be able to create victory on some of those goals, right? On some of those goals where you actually start to go, man, I'm doing really well. And you start to appreciate the fact that you are moving forward and you can see it and you can feel it. And it just gives you that power to know that you can, and if you continue to operate that way, that, you can see the opportunities. Because one of the things that I know is when I'm frustrated, I miss things.
Same.
Right? When I'm frustrated, I miss something. I'm like, wow, that was probably an opportunity that I could have taken, advantage of, but I didn't because I was so focused on this thing that really warrants no attention, but it's just absorbing my time and my energy.
Yeah, and Cheryl, when you think about your frustration or when you feel stuck, the answer is at a different vibration.
Mm-hmm.
So you're never going to find the answer as long as you're there.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
And
you're
that's so
talking like
important.
Abraham Hicks now, Jody.
That's my thing. That's what I teach. She's
Yeah,
one
I
of
know.
my teachers. Gabby,
Yeah.
we haven't heard you talk about feng shui.
Yeah. No, but I was just gonna let Cheryl finish.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I was
That's
just,
okay.
and I'm done. I'm done. I just wanted to bring that to light because we do have the power in what we focus on. And when we realize that, then we can take advantage of the opportunities in front of us. Because as they say, now the fog has been lifted, right? And I'm no longer focusing on that thing that has absorbed my attention. I've either let it go, or I've delegated it, or I've decided it can happen later, or I've just dumped it and said, okay, not worth my time, energy, or resources. And then to be okay with that. And maybe that's even the celebration aspect, right? That I've made that decision and I'm going to celebrate that.
Yeah.
Because that feels good. And when
Clarity.
That's a really good point.
Clarity.
I think whichever of the D's that you choose, that you should celebrate that, right? Because that it helps to create that momentum that gets you moving and taking further action. And what we've been talking about a lot goes back to the first principle, which is to own your stuff, right? Is to take ownership and responsibility for where you are and making new choices. That is then followed by the next couple of principles about being clear about what it is you want. When you are clear about that, then you can decide how to move these things forward or out, and not continue to have them using up your bandwidth.
Yeah, that
Absolutely.
is true. Yeah. And then chaos is not always necessarily only clothes and books and documents and things like that. There is also the technology side of it. How many emails do you have in your inbox? That is chaos by itself. Like I remember, I think it was 2 years ago that I had to sit
Somebody
there.
asked you to bring me up in this conversation.
I know it. I know. Like, how many emails do you have in your inbox? Like, it is a good idea once a week you spend like an hour, if not a couple of hours, to just clean up, and then go back to the trash where you then empty the trash as well, and check your spam folders all the time. Create subfolders and save the ones that you never want to lose. Save them in a folder. And that is another thing also that that we teach in Principle 28. That is that. And then what we learned is we have to be careful what we carry in our spaces, whether it's our home or our office. Like my teacher, I've learned from her, Denise Lin, as well as Feng Shui also, we teach that is everything we carry in our space has an energy. It either has a positive energy, a negative energy, or a neutral energy, as she calls it. So what are you carrying? What are we carrying in our, like, it's a good idea sometimes to hold something, like, you know, and see how you feel about it. Like that picture hanging over there, look at it, see how do you feel about it. Do you feel positive? Does it make you happy? Do you feel negative, or it doesn't give you any feeling? Just get rid of stuff that don't make you happy in your space. And also based even the Lin method and Feng Shui, if you have anything that's cracked or broken, that is the priority to get those stuff fixed, because they're cracked and broken stuff is bad energy. So anything broken, anything this, like even like your basement, if you live in a house, make sure it's clean and organized. Like a lot of people tend to dump stuff in their basement or in their attic, as they call it, some people, or like the extra room. That is bad energy. Just clean up, and make space for new flow of energy, for abundance to come into your life. So get rid of stuff, especially stuff that is not serving you in any way, that's not bringing a smile, not to your face, but to your heart. Just get rid of it. So that's what I can say in a minute or so.
I love that.
Right.
I love the reminder. Yeah, I was joking about the email, but not joking about the email.
We're all guilty of that.
I'm not guilty. They just exist, and I haven't. You know, I spend some time where I get started, and I'll delete, and then I'll get to a point. It's like, okay, I'm tired of that. But I have. If I had as much money as I had emails,
I know, seriously.
it would be really cool. So I want to say, we've talked about, you know, like things and emotions and
relationships.
relationships. I want to just add one more thing, or one more aspect to the conversation, and that's words, right? Which come from our thoughts, and to really be someone who pays attention to your thoughts, and the words that come, right? Words mean something. Words have meaning. Words matter. And so when you're thinking your thoughts and the words that you're using to describe what you're doing, you know, Jody will talk a lot about this, you know, with the law of attraction, and really just paying attention, because having not incomplete thoughts necessarily, but using words that create mess in your life, create emotional havoc or emotional chaos, because you're not being conscious of the language that you're using in the midst of why you're using it. And so when I mentioned earlier about sort of going from being a goal setter to a goal achiever, right? For me, that was one of those shifts a few years ago, and really paying attention to the words that I was using to make sure that I wasn't creating mess and incompletes in my life, right? I've got enough of that that's sort of happening that I don't have to be an addition to that. So I just wanted to make sure that we touched on that aspect, paying attention to your thoughts, because your thoughts are things. And if thoughts are things, what are you thinking, right? What are you thinking? And then what are you saying? What are you speaking into existence? And so, you know, paying attention to being guilty, feeling guilty, saying you're guilty, that you're a goal setter, that you're not I have I ran half marathons. A few years ago, I had this thing where I wanted to run a half marathon. I did one. Then the next year, I was like, I'm going to run 15 half marathons. I'm going to run one each month. And then something came along and I added a couple and I did 15. And I didn't win any, wasn't ever going to win any, but you have these opportunities to get shirts and they say finishers. And I think that's sort of when I started thinking about this concept of moving from being a goal setter to a goal achiever, to being a finisher. And so every time I put on a shirt that says finisher on there, it reminds me to be a finisher.
I'm getting
that I am a finisher.
I know.
I'm getting
finished things, right? And so, and that goes to the point Cheryl made about celebrating the little things, the big things, she puts V's instead of check marks on the things that and I share that with people all the time. I think it's a brilliant, it's a minor shift, right? To put a V for victory when you've accomplished something that you set out for. Nothing wrong with the check mark, but that elevates that just a little bit. So, just think about what you're thinking about, think about what you're saying, the words that you're using, and how they may create chaos or opportunities for you to not finish or complete things that you want because of the words that you're choosing.
My mind is like blown with all these. I love that. I just wanted to add one more word because it's something we hear all the time. And when I'm doing workshops, or people, when I'm working with people in workplaces, how many times do we hear this? Oh my gosh, I'm just so overwhelmed. I am overwhelmed. I am just I can't talk to you now. I'm just so overwhelmed. Guess what? We create more overwhelm.
Yes.
So I'm glad you brought up that topic because I think that is something that everybody can relate to.
Absolutely. We speak that angst and chaos into our lives. But and there's nothing wrong with acknowledging how you feel, but take a breath, right? There's strategy for that. Take a deep stop. Take a deep breath.
I'm busy, but I'm
inventory and then just decide what. It only has to be one thing. It only has to be a little thing. And then celebrate that. Whatever it is, celebrate it. Do it, celebrate, celebrate. And then you'll find the momentum. And next thing you know, you'll have accomplished something.
Yeah. And then when you feel overwhelmed, which we do, we're humans from time to time, stuff happens and we get stressed out. The thing is that don't take your stress or your personal issues out on the next person who gives you a phone call or who you meet or somebody who asks you for a favor because they have no idea what you're going through. Take a deep breath or just don't pick up your phone. Just go for a walk, think about it and come back, because I know a lot of people who just they take their own personal stress on the next person who gave them a phone call. Trust me, it has happened to me. And just be careful. Just go out for a walk, let it out alone, and don't take it on the innocent people who just called either to check on you or just to ask you a question. So that is one of my advice, because that chaos creates another chaos, because then you end up hurting somebody else's feelings. So yeah.
It's interesting that we're talking about words, and I know we've got probably about 6 minutes. See how this hour goes by so quickly when we're having such a robust conversation?
I know.
So if you are watching this, if you are watching the replay, definitely understand that, this messes and incompletes from the commonality of what we have all said as we're thinking about how we utilize these success principles in our different teachings, is that, it starts out with your mindset, right? It starts out with your mindset, understanding that you are the only one that can see your messes and incompletes to the depth of what you can see. Other people can always point things out to you, right? But you're not always going to be so willing to accept them because it doesn't always fall on good soil. So sometimes, you're not willing to accept them. But if you want to be honest And if this is about you going truly from where you are to where you want to be, and your self-awareness and your growth aspect, then you have to be honest with yourselves. And that's why writing down what all of those things are, all of those things that you want to accomplish, all those irritants that you have, and being able to look at them, because we're all semi-visual. We have different, audio, kinesthetic, but visual is something that's common for all of us, because when you see it, that means it's there. That means it's real. And so, being able to go down that list and then start to prioritize, right? What is it that I really want to focus on? What is this doing to me if I focus on this, right? Is that going to create a form of chaos, rather be emotional, rather it be the words that I speak to myself, or rather it be, my activities as I'm trying to accomplish something? What is it that's going to do to me? Because everything that we do to ourselves. So how do we do things that's going to allow us to move forward in the progress that we want, so that we can see those victories and those celebrations every single day? Because that's my motto. My motto is every day we should have something to celebrate at the end of the day. I don't care how minute you might think it is, it's worth celebrating.
Yeah.
Because it makes you feel good and it releases the endorphins in your brain, and then it opens you up to those opportunities of the present.
Yes.
So, listening to this, I hope you've gathered a lot of information where you have the ability to say, you know what, to be honest with you, I got a few messes and some incompletes that I truly need to take care of, look at, maybe even get a coach, someone that will help me walk through it in a manner that they're serving as a guide. And then they can provide some principles that I can, stick to, that will allow me to have something sustainable, so that when it reoccurs, because we know the things about messes and incompletes, they don't just go away, right?
Yeah.
We continue to find more and more and more. So being able to have somebody guide you is a really, really great thing. And so for our time that we have left, I want to go and have each of you talk about how a person can reach you, and whatever else you want to leave as your final message.
Who's up? Who's on first?
You.
I guess that's you, Jody.
Exactly.
So I'll give you my final message, but first of all, so you can find me on Facebook, Jody Santangelo, on Whitney and Cheryl's Clubhouse, Success Principles, on Instagram, and my website, jodysantangelo.com. So you can find me there. Reach out if we can support you in any way. Here's my closing message. This is something we hear from Jack, and this is something, if you're watching, you'll want to write down. Here it is. Your work environment and your home environment and your relationships should inspire you, not expire you.
Yes.
Your environments and your relationships should inspire you, Miss Clutter Queen in Feng Shui, should inspire you, not expire you. So thank you, and I'm out.
Thank you. Okay. Hi. You can reach me at my Facebook page, which is Gabby Declutter Queen. That is my Facebook page. And on LinkedIn, I am at Gabby Abdelgadir, International Bestselling Author. That's the title of my page. And then Gabby Abdelgadir on YouTube. And my podcast is the Grace, Peace, Balance Radio Show by Gabby Abdelgadir. If you want to be interviewed, or if you can reach me, you need any help. And my last word is just a reminder. I think we've mentioned it earlier on this conversation. Remember always the 4 Ds. Do it, delegate it, delay it, or dump it. I finish with that.
Love it, love it. Love the reminder.
Yeah.
I'll be putting all of this good stuff to use this weekend. It's it's a long weekend. It's a 4th of July weekend. I'll make some use of it. I guess I want to leave with this thought that If you go back to the original principle, the first principle of taking 100% responsibility, the E plus R equals O, the event plus the response equals the outcome. You want a different outcome, you've got to take a different action. And so if you've got messes and incompletes, and we all do, you've got to take a different action to address those. So what got you there won't get you where you want to go. So if you've got stuff, address it and then keep it moving. Celebrate whatever steps that you take, and don't feel any kind of way about it. Give yourself grace. Trade the guilt word for the grace word. One G for another. Go from G to G. You can, I'm on all the social. Look me up, Whitney Wiley, and Whitney's NIE. I'm particularly enamored right now with Clubhouse. You can find me there. We do a room on Wednesdays at 1:30 p.m. Pacific, 4:30 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays called Power Your Success, and we're walking through the success principles. So there's another opportunity, like we go really deep in depth here with you guys once a month. We're doing that on a weekly basis on Clubhouse. So if you're there, check it out. And if you need an invitation, DM me. I've got quite a few. Happy to help you in that respect. But join us there and join in the conversation. Let us know how we can help you. I want to thank those of you who are here live and those who will watch later for being here, and just let us know how we can be of service to you.
Sorry, guys.
Cheryl, you up?
Awesome. I just wanted to make sure Whitney was complete.
I am complete.
So my name, of course, is Cheryl Mays, and you can find me on social media. But I want you to connect with me because I am completing something that I've been working on, and that's a rebranding. So the website's being redone and a couple of other things. So connect with me on LinkedIn at Cheryl Mays, and that gives you the opportunity to form a connection. Let's talk about what it is you're working on. And so that's that opportunity. And you can also find me on Clubhouse. I not only have a room where I co-mod with Miss Whitney at the Power Your, gosh, I can't even remember the name of the room because we changed it. Success Principle Room with Whitney, Whitney Wiley and Cheryl and Jody. So you'll find us there, but also I have a room called the Next Level Thinking. And that is on Wednesday evenings at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so we talk about exactly that, right? What's that next level? And a lot of that has to deal with cleaning up, right? Cleaning up what you've have in the past so you can get to the next level. And so, that's what it's about, because nobody really wants to stay where you are. Nobody wants to be mediocre. And definitely you don't want to regress. You want to go to the next level. And so that's what we talk about. And I'll tell you, if you take a moment, if you need to watch this video again, right? You watch it once or twice, just because sometimes when a person is talking about you cleaning up the past, we kind of get a little offended initially. And then the second time we go, okay, I'm cool. Okay. So you might need to watch this twice so that you come to that point of going, you know what, they're right. They've done it, still going through it. And so we all are. So take heed to that. And then my final thought is to complete the past so that the present has room to show up. And it gives you the opportunity to see the opportunities, the resources that are available to you, because you have room to not only see them, but to absorb them. So with that, I am going to say, have an amazing evening. Thank you for joining us here in this Reset for Success. Whitney has
one last thing before you finally sign off. Our next session is the 26th of July, and we'll be talking about embracing change.
Yay.
Right. And that's next level, right? That's the next level, is embracing that change. So definitely set your calendars, invite others to join the group. We would love to grow this community.
And we will be putting in information every day. We'll be putting in information so that you can continue this progress, so that you can continue to stay connected, because that's what we want you to do. So again, have an amazing night and leave room for the future. Bye.
Yes. Bye,
Bye.
everyone. Take care.
Thank you.